Welcome back to Newsmaker Live. We discussing issues that have taken place over the past few days on St. Lucia, and we are, just opening up the lines to you this evening so that you can have your say on some of those issues. The number is on your screen, so you can call at any time. And we have an update on the missing girl that was carried in the DBS News World this evening, where she was actually found, and we have the parents who are speaking on the issue. So let's take a listen to that story, which was filed earlier today.
A 13-year-old girl escorted by her aunt to the Criminal Investigation Department after the teenager was found at a home in Lacroix on Tuesday evening. The youngster appeared to be in good spirits and cooperative, but a bit worried, apparently, about the likely consequences of her disappearance. The teenager was reported missing for 4 days after she left her father's home to go meet her mother. On Tuesday, a report was made to the police and the media. The father seen here happy about his child's return, while the aunt breathes a sigh of relief that the child is safe.
We asked her where she was. She told me, I'm sorry, but she told me she cannot explain the place where she was. But I'm so happy she come back home.
The 13-year-old told us she ran away because she did not want to go to her mother's home where she is unhappy. The father claims that the mother's home is not suitable, a claim the mother has denied.
The father keep on saying how much things, calling home and questioning the child, saying how is because of me the child doing that, is me that caused the problem.
The mother says that her common-law husband cares for the teenager and that another aunt of her daughter is also responsible for the teenager running away. The mother plans to take her daughter into her care permanently. However, the family matter is being investigated by both the Department of Human Services and the police. Reporting for the DBS News World, I am Cecil Actil.
All right, thank you very much, Cecil, for that report. And I mean, there's so many issues that arise out of this one story, and it is not an isolated event. These occurrences are so prevalent. There are a few people who come forward and you hear it reported in the news, but there are so many social issues associated with this one story. The fact that a 13-year-old, I can't get my mind around it as yet, but a 13-year-old can disappear for 4 days. She's not at her mother's home, she's not at her father's home, and from the indication, she's not at a relative's home. Where could she have been, and in whose custody was she during the 4 days? Who cared for her? She must have eaten, she must have cleaned up herself, and who was responsible for providing those resources to her so that she could stay alive and she could be in good health? Is the person, should the police be questioning that person who was not a legal guardian? I mean, she is a minor, so she cannot, for all intents and purposes, make a decision to leave her home and go to somebody else's home and stay there for any length of time. She is still the responsibility of the parents. That's just one issue. The other issue is, it would appear that this discord between the mother and the father, that the child is in the middle of it, because you hear the accusations being leveled by the father, and now you see the mother coming out and saying that the father has been saying certain things about her and this and that. So the child is caught between an adult conversation, an adult conflict, and what is being overlooked is that she is still a child. She's still 13 years old, and it does not matter how grown or physically mature she may look. Her mind is not developed to the point where she should understand those conflicts, or should be forced into understanding what those conflicts are about. And what is the responsibility, that is the next issue, of the state in stepping in to ensure that a dysfunctional young lady does not materialize out of this apparent conflict between the parents. Where do the state rights come in? Where does the state say, okay, well, this is not something that a 13-year-old should be subject to or exposed to, and as a result, you know, we need to protect that child, put certain measures in place to ensure that this child is protected. Now, I noticed as well that while the cameras were rolling, the father was turning the child's face towards the camera, which I don't see why that would be useful for him to do, since this child is still a school student and she would have peers, and you know, just the focus that would be placed on her, she would be under a microscope. You know how children can be mean at times and how, you know, they might tease her or whatever, just to know that she was the one involved. I really do not think that this was very responsible of a parent to make a child, a 13-year-old child, the subject of something that is not positive. There's nothing positive about what has transpired there. There were reports as well that she attended a party in, was it Ancillary or Roseau, one of the nights that she was missing, and it was a party that was in the evening. Why is a 13-year-old who is not in the custody of her parents attending a party in the night in a community? And wasn't there any adults present at that party to, you know, raise an alarm to say, okay, well, this child is underage, this child should not be around? But I guess we're so permissive in our society that when we see these things happen, there is no alarm that is raised. It just seems like, you know, par for the course. It just seems like the norm that we can expect children to be in adult venues at late hours and nothing is said about it. One of the other issues that we discussed was the bakers. So let's listen to the story on the bakers being upset about the subsidy and how it will affect their business.
Calixtus Lawrence is a small bakery owner who operates in the Masha area and says that the increase in the price of flour and other baking ingredients has crippled not only his business but that of other bakers as well. He says the price of everything has gone up and yet the cost of bread remains the same.
In fact and in truth, we have gotten no raise to cover up that present flour situation, you understand? And apart from flour, there's so many other items that have gone up. Yeast, shortening and gas. Every one of these is ingredients that bakers use to produce. And you know, we have our current, we have our water like anybody else. So the baking business is just going out of hand, and especially the smaller bakeries are feeling it a little more, because in this business, the more you make mass production, is the more you are able to survive a little bit. But we work very hard. We have, you know, work in a heat place. We are always hot, we got to wake up very early and all that. And we think right now, this is peanuts for us to survive on, you know, and we are not really making any profit.
Dental Lionel is another small baker from Waterworks Road and says he too is feeling the pinch.
A bag of flour, you raise and thing, you check it? So when you see like you have to, customers come and buy bread, always complaining and thing, but we are making no profit when you buy the bag of flour.
Small bakers say to date they have heard nothing from the Bakers Association, which is supposed to be representing their interests. As a result, they plan to gather on Friday on the Derek Walcott Square to discuss their options. Calixtus McLaurin says that since the price of one bag of flour has gone up by $22 per bag and the wholesalers only make $2 profit per bag, the retailers are reluctant to invest. As far as he is concerned, the small bakers are not getting any kind of representation.
This is something that I'm pushing for, but you know, pushing for that the small bakers, you know, form their own association, so we'll be more effective, because we don't think that we're getting represented. We heard of an association and we don't see anything. When we are in trouble, we see nobody to represent us, and that is the second time I'm coming out. Actually, this time I feel a little more, you know, aggravated, because I was waiting that somebody would have come out on our behalf, but nobody has said nothing. When we sell a bread for 30 cents, persons are pulling away from us. They believe that we are doing our own thing, and nobody to say anything, and we just have to buy the flour at the same price, buy the other ingredients at the same price. So we believe this is unfair to us, and we want somebody to come out and say something. We want some meeting where bakers can tell them exactly how they feel, and then we know what is happening to us, because we cannot continue living like that.
The small bakers say they are eager to see what happens after their meeting on Friday. For the DBS News World, Alex Busquet reporting.
Okay, Alex Busquet, thanks a lot for that. And of course, this is an issue that we all will be affected by, because most of us, if not all of us, use bread or baked goods. So if the small bakers, and I am sure the larger bakers, will also be coming out to speak on that issue, because as he indicated in that interview, Mr. McLawrence, Calixtus McLawrence, that yeast, shortening, gas, and the other inputs to produce bread have all gone up, and the price of bread has remained the same. So I mean, it would be only natural that very shortly there will be a push to have the price of bread increase. The last time it happened was probably 2007, 2006, 2007, thereabout, and I am sure that they would feel that they are right now in line for an increase, since the last increase took place 5 or more years ago. The other issue that we discussed was one, again, that would affect everyone else, the civil status registry, and plans being made to put measures in place by the cabinet of ministers to address some of those issues there, and those long lines that we complain about, that or people have complained about for the longest while, the opening hours of the civil status registry on Bridge Street, also the fact that, you know, the adjudicator's office is crowded, and the rectifications that need to be made on the birth documents go through a long and tedious process, and sometimes, you know, people who come from down south, who have to pay for transportation to get here, only to be told that, you know, documents are not ready, or they're missing certain things, or that the name on the register does not match what's on their document. So therefore they have to go through the process of adjusting and going to the lawyer, the adjudicator, and they'd have to make an appointment. So these things don't happen all at once. You know, it's not all at once, it is not in the same location, and you know, those who have gone through the process know they have to make multiple appointments in order to have those issues addressed. Now, to get from Castries to Viewfort and back, it's $16 for that round trip, and if you multiply that, most people, you know, cannot afford. Those who are looking for the documents, a lot of them cannot afford, you know, to make those trips if you're told to come 1 week. And I've experienced that myself, that, you know, you get a receipt to tell you, okay, you need to collect at a certain date. You go on that date and the document is not ready, and all you're told is, well, you have to come back. So is it fair? And you know, let's hear the report on that civil status registry and what the cabinet has proposed to address that issue.
Public Service Minister Dr. James Fletcher thinks it's high time that the Civil Registry Department operates more efficiently. He spoke of the possibility of persons being informed about their birth certificates and other documents via text message, and being able to collect them at places other than the registry. He says Cabinet has given a deadline of next month end to at least see some major improvements in the running of the departments. But he says in some sections it will take a little more time. He cited the adjudicator's office as an example. Dr. Fletcher also spoke of decentralizing operations so that persons who live in the out districts need not travel to Castries to obtain their documents.
You will not have to come to Castries to get everything done. That there are many, we believe there are many activities that you ought to be able to do in Soufrière, in Vieux-Fort, in Gros-Islet, in Dennery, in Mico, in Choiseul, in Labrie, Canaries, Ancillary. This is a small island, and we really make things a lot more difficult than they ought to be. And I think sometimes the bureaucracy is frustrating, but even then, we can't just go in and apply what we think is the solution. We have to make sure we do it properly.
One customer complained about the painfully slow civil registry system, and another who was irate about the situation said she misplaced her receipt and she was told by the department that nothing could be done to assist her. This after she had already paid for the service. She says she needs to travel and she needs the documents as soon as possible.
I mean, they are just not doing what they're supposed to do, because when you come there and you apply for the birth certificate, they give you a date. For instance, look, that's the date I have, the 16th of July. When the 16th of July come, I go over and collect. It is not there, and it will take 3-4 weeks before I get it, and it is just not fair.
I lose the receipt. I was supposed to get the paper on the 15th. Because I lose the receipt, they tell me they cannot do nothing for me. I paid my money already. You all have the computer, everything there. How you all cannot get the paper to give me? You all have to get it because it is not up there. Went up there, they tell me it's not there. They don't send it up there yet. Today again I come. The mister tell me it is not there. He look everywhere for me. He cannot find it. So I come down here today. I want to get my paper because my money paid already. If I have to do another 2 forms, I'm not paying no more money.
The operations of the Civil Status Registry have long been a major bone of contention for members of the public who have consistently complained not only about delays but also about the lax attitude and insensitivity of some employees at the department. Public Service Minister Dr. James Fletcher is hoping that the situation can be brought under control sooner rather than later. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas reporting.
Well, there you have it, and I'm sure that everybody is quite familiar with how this system works. And I totally agree with the Public Service Minister that, you know, some of the red tape, some of the bureaucracy that we see in these processes are unnecessary, and for a small island they should not be. And you know, sometimes we are quick to blame the workers at the registry, but this is just how the systems are set up. They cannot go around the systems or you know, or through the systems to do things differently. They'll have to follow the protocols that are in place, the procedures that are in place, and do things the right way, because if they were to do things differently, then we'd also have a reason to complain. So they cannot be blamed to a large extent. And also we have to remember as well that they are human, and they are under a lot of pressure. Imagine that this place is packed every day, and they have to attend to all those people who are inside the civil status registry every day. And some people are not the nicest. Some of us are not the nicest when we get there, and you know, there are insults that are hurled, there are, you know, demands that are made, there are threats that are made as well. And you know, they have to just take all that in and continue to provide the service as best as they can for the waiting public. So it is a good thing that, you know, the cabinet has given those in authority, the Public Service Ministry, until the end of July to come up with some solutions, some sure fixes to the problems that are being experienced there. And hopefully they will meet that the end of July deadline to get these things done, and we can see a better system coming out of it. As this one lady said, you know, things are recorded in all different formats. We have computers right now, so it should not be that difficult for us to retrieve information regarding a payment that was made and a birth document that needs to be collected, especially if a date was given as to when that document should be collected. If that is recorded, well, it is recorded by the workers at the registry. It should not be a big deal if you don't have the receipt to put it up. Providing enough information and proper identification should produce those results. I mean, the minister also said that, if you have those documents, people come from Soufriere and Vieux Fort and Canaries and Ancillary and Labrie, Micoud, Choiseul, they don't need to come to Castries to collect. If you have already paid for the service, why is it so difficult, to batch those documents and take them down to one of the government offices down in one of those communities or constituencies and have the people collect from there? Why should that be so difficult? Why do people have to pay extra to come to Castries just to collect after they have come up to apply? Also, a novel idea, and most of us have mobile devices. When the document is ready, send a text to the individual indicating that the document is ready and it can be picked up. So I mean, some good ideas, and I hope to see them materialize very soon in the interest of the entire public, especially as we seek to clean up our civil status registry and the processes taking place there. We have a call on the line. Good evening, caller. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Very good.
All right. I have issues with the registry. I applied at Soufriere for a birth certificate on behalf of a relative.
Right.
This relative was born in the year 1943. And this relative is unable to do anything for herself. So I took the task of traveling from Castries to Soufriere to apply, believing that it would be easier for me. After walking for a year and a half, I had not received that birth certificate. Now, I'm traveling up and down, up and down, up and down.
And what is the reason?
It was never there. They will check and it was never there. I'll send it down next week. I'll send it down Friday. I will send it down tomorrow. And it was just never there.
And you said you have been waiting for that document for 18 months?
We do 18 months.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you the nicest thing. Eventually, I went to headquarters in Castries at the registry in Basin Street. And then I walked and walked and walked until eventually I did get a document, but it was not a birth certificate. It was a letter stating, this serves to inform you that the records for birth in the district of Soufriere from that X date to that X date, which is 1939 to 1943, have been destroyed.
Wow.
Yeah, and it continues. The only information available pertaining to that relevant record is the birth index. So there is an index where births are recorded. Good. A search of our birth index records revealed that Mistress so-and-so, daughter of X and Y, was born in the district of Soufriere, which is recorded in the 4th quarter, page X, year Y. Attached is the evidence of her birth as recorded in the birth index. This proves that Mistress so-and-so is a St. Lucian by birth and was born on XYZ date. Hello, let me read that to you again. Attached is the evidence of her birth as recorded in the birth index. This proves that mystery is so and so is a St. Lucian by birth and was born on XYZ date. Should you have any need to contact the Civil Status Department, please do not hesitate to do so. Okay, so we have records showing, which is the index where all births are recorded. We have proof that she is a St. Lucian by birth, born on that date. Still, we are saying the records have been destroyed, so there is no way she can get a birth certificate. What do you think of that?
I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm not an expert in records, so I mean I would reserve my judgment. But a lot of this sounds
your judgment, but just take that in.
Yeah. But I mean, who without giving me the name of the individual, what is the position of the person who signed that document for you? That letter.
Deputy registrar.
Okay. And but I don't know.
Yeah, we have proof, evidence that she is a St. Lucian by birth,
but
born on X date.
So they give you the name, they give you the fact that she was born on a certain date.
The parents' names.
Oh, they give the parents' names as well.
She is the daughter of so and so.
So why? So did they indicate? Did you ever inquire as to why they could not give you a birth document if they had all that information?
The records have been destroyed.
But isn't that a record that they just gave you?
Yeah, that is all.
In the letter?
So there we have a letter, and it is addressed to the Inspector of Immigration, and there is a seal on that letter. It is signed by the Deputy Registrar. Can you imagine, in this modern day and age, when we're making so much progress, this is what we get.
You see, no, but we're saying in this modern day and age, yes, we are in the modern day and age, but what transpired before that was not very modern, and that's why we have all the issues that we have with them.
That is true.
Otherwise, we would not be having that conversation, right?
Very true, because, you know, we're so bright, unless some foreign agents pull up our socks and tell us, look, that's the wrong way to do things. This is wrong. We just follow. Oh, that's how it is, so we take it for granted. That's how it is. Okay, baby? Now, let us go to the cemetery. You see the disrespect for human life in society where people just go about killing each other for the simplest little thing? You see how perhaps it has started there where we have no dignity, no pride, no respect for nobody, even by those who were supposed to have the respect, the pride, the dignity, and then for it to filter down to the ghetto boys, the boys on the block, so they can put down their guns and their knives and stop killing people. That is no respect, that is no dignity, that is no pride, no self-esteem. We don't take human beings and just kill them whenever we wish to for whatever little reason. Neither should we, and neither do we have to take human corpses, human bodies, remains, and just treat them like cabbage. Just remove them from here, throw them aside. Come on. Look at the modern days, this day and age. We don't have to go to college, you know. We've passed that stage.
Yeah.
That hurts. It really hurts to see excavators just digging like they're digging a trench or they're dredging the Prince Alfred Basin to build a wharf or something of that sort. So they don't expect there to have bodies in the ground. So they're just digging. Hell with everybody who's buried there. Is it charcoal they have in the ground there? This is human body. These are human beings.
Now, on that note, I want to segue to that story that we were talking about, where the leader of the Roman Catholic Church here, Archbishop Robert Rivas, spoke on that issue. So I want to thank you very much for your contribution, caller, and let's go to that story on the Shock Cemetery expansion, where bodies are being, well, assumedly dug up, and that has raised the ire of Archbishop Robert Rivas.
It's not uncommon to hear people express anxiety when their loved ones are dead, but news that human remains are being dug up after being buried to make way for new burials at the Shock Cemetery is not going down well with two family members who are in mourning.
I would feel very unpleased about that situation because that's time of mourning, and then to know that your parent or whoever is not in there where you buried them, it's really a disgrace. It's a disaster.
Well, when I watch that, it's not looking nice. So you have your body buried already, and then you see like the coffin out, and then to like you never buried.
One mourner told us that the onus is on the authorities to provide more space for burials. Private land had been earmarked at Riviere Mitre for a new national cemetery, but the plans were apparently put on hold after residents in the area protested. The Shock Cemetery is currently undergoing excavation works as a result of growing demands for burial space. However, in the process, excavators are digging up human remains, something which the head of the Roman Catholic Church and members of the public have denounced. The Rambali Funeral Parlour is aware that the cemetery is providing more space for clients. However, although the parlour could not speak directly to the developments taking place at the Shock Cemetery, it says there are tombs that are being paid for.
Private section, you buy your tomb, it becomes yours, and you have it forever. The pauper side is for the persons who cannot afford, and there is a special section. I do not know exactly what section it is. I just know it is in the sun, and they bury the persons there. The public section, they build tombs. It's like you build tombs which houses about 5 persons, a spot in it. You pay for a spot in there.
The funeral parlour says that more bereaved families are now deciding to cremate their deceased loved ones rather than bury them. Shock Cemetery officials say that the human remains that have so far been unearthed in a bid to create more burial space will later be reburied. Reporting for the DBS News World, I am Cecil Actil.
And that report was from this evening, and not Archbishop Robert Rivas will play that one for you a little later. But, you know, the same idea that, you know, bodies are being unearthed. And we have the call on the line. Good evening, caller. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Clinton, there's a sad situation at the registry.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they need to empathize with people. And all those people there, they need customer training, the workers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because a situation happened to me back then when the birth certificate here, the green copy. Right? I went there and I had a situation where one daughter, I realized that the surname has 2L, which I'm signing 1L.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked the young lady, at least, well, I have another daughter, since I'm going to check at the lawyer to rectify the problem. Can you please check? She's in front of a computer. You know, she denied me. Only to find out afterwards, when we do get the child's birth certificate, this other daughter, it has the same 2L, the problem. Right? Simple. You understand? I'm asking one favor. So they're not empathizing with people. Then there's another situation going on in St. Lucia with them again. When the birth certificates are ready, I think you have to go to this other building near the courthouse to collect it.
Right.
In this day and age, my goodness me, modern technology, computer and whatever, put a list out of those that are ready. When you have one day off and you come in there, maybe you're number 100 whatever, and only when it is your turn to find out, it is not ready, it's not there, put a list out so I can come in or anybody walk in. Your name is there, you can wait. You don't mind waiting. But if your name is not there, then you know, well, okay, I can go. Another day I can come back and check. So, I mean, a lot of things need to be, you know, transformed, change and whatever. And these people are lapsing, man, too much.
Yeah,
I do understand there is pressure, but at the same time, my goodness me, they need to look a lot into it. Anyway, good night.
Well, just before you go, but we also need to empathize with them because they deal with a high volume of clientele for the day. So, you know, so we have to understand and put ourselves in their position as well, because they're dealing with a lot of people who they face, who they interact with are irate.
Yes.
Because once you get to a registry, trust me, I've been there. I mean, the process is so frustrating that sometimes, you know, people lose their cool. And it's not only, probably if you lost your cool, you think that you're dealing with this person, and as a professional, that person should rise above that. But then you have to think how many people before you have lost their cool, and that person had to deal with them. And you know, you reach a breaking point. So whereas I'm not looking to make an excuse for them, I also want us to empathize with them. And you know, to say that yes, let's understand what they're facing, because I'm sure they are frustrated with the system as well. I'm sure that they wish that the system were more efficient, so that, you know, people would not have to come inside there and quarrel and get on and make threats and insult them, you know, and they face that 5 days a week. So
yeah, but what I'm saying is that some of them too, it's not all, some of them, the attitude. Because I tell you, take for example mine, one simple thing I said, well, since I'm going to a lawyer, please, can you? You understand? There is my situation, because I'm going to a lawyer. And remember, back in those days, when you go to a private lawyer, just to cross one T or dot an I, you knew the price. Everybody knows the price.
Yes.
Right? Whereas that problem could have been taken care of, but just because of one simple person not empathizing with me at the moment, you understand? Then when I come back again and to find out the other child, the same problem, what do you expect me to do? Huh?
Well, hopefully, with that review that has been announced,
I hope
things will be, it would be better for all of us, and we would be less angry at the end as a society, I'm sure.
I hope so, and especially for that list, I say when it's ready, put it out. Very simple. You understand? That's very simple. Put out a list of the birth certificates that are ready. You know, you walk in there, your name is not on the list. I mean, okay, today, because I mean, sometimes it's one little day off you have, you know.
Yeah.
One day off, and to spend, okay, you are whatever number, and then to spend so many hours there to find out it's not ready, and they cannot even give you a date when to come back.
Yeah.
But at least, if the names are there daily, you can say, oh, let me send anybody and check for me. It's there, I'll wait. I don't mind waiting. Anyway.
I totally agree with you, and thank you very much for that contribution, caller. I totally agree, and I mean, if you look at examples in other countries as well, where you have probably computer screens, kiosks, where you can check those things, say, okay, searching for my birth certificate if it's ready, and just plug in my name and it will give me an indication as to whether it's ready or not. That should be simple enough. That should be simple enough. We have another call. Good evening, caller. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm calling in regards to that birth certificate issue. As for me, I've been going through the process for 3.5 months now. Now, I got a job letter from overseas. I was supposed to be taking work. It's like about 2 months ago. Now, I'm going through the process of getting the birth certificate rectified, but it's just like it's taking forever.
Wow.
I've walked up and down so many times. And up to now, I'm waiting for the court order, and nothing is happening. I'm really frustrated, because even on Monday, last week Monday, and then I had no choice but to message the PM on Facebook, you know, just to express my feelings about it. Yeah, so I think it was hard time for them to look into it.
Yeah, as I said, I'm hoping that this thing produces some positive results, and people can benefit, people can see, you know, something different, because I'm telling you that I'm going through it, not for myself, but then the number of trips I've made to the civil status registry rather. I mean, it's frustrating to me, and sometimes I can't even bother, because I'm so busy during the day that I cannot spend an entire day just trying to. Yeah, and it's not one day, because you have to go back. You're missing this, you're missing that, you're missing the other thing, and it's not their fault, you know. I mean, if we had recorded our births properly in the beginning, then we would not have those problems now. And now I think there was also a program a couple of years ago, where they were they were using young students to try to update it, so that you know, they could make them electronic. I'm not sure where that project is, but that was a great project, so that you know, some of those issues that we face, and going through those books, because going through those reams as well is very very tiring, very manual, and you know you have to, instead of a computer searching for it, you have to search for it. Your eyes have to be trained to ensure that you don't miss it. A computer may not miss it, but your eyes might miss something. So it might be on a page, you feel you have gone through it and it's not there, so you have turned, so you're going through the entire thing and then you don't see it, then you have to go back again. Trust me, I know.
I provided them everything they asked for. My grandparents' birth certificate, the marriage certificate, my parents' birth certificate, the marriage certificate, but then, you know, the process. Because if they said they're seen after emergencies, you know, why am I should still be here? You know, because I provided them with a job letter, you know.
And you said it's 3.5 months and you had to take up work 2 months ago. Wow.
Yeah, because right now there's somebody's holding the job for me, you know, overseas. Somebody has to go up to just hold on the job for me. Because I have been unemployed for about 7 months now, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really frustrating.
Yeah, it's frustrating and sad. I'm sorry to hear that, but with what has been said, I hope that, you know, that talk can be translated into action and something positive can result out of it.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for that contribution.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes, well, I knew that, you know, there are a number of people who would have had issues with the situation at the Civil Status Registry. We have another call. Good evening. Please go ahead.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
And how are you?
Very good. You?
Okay, Quinton, I think what the problem is, they need to use their common sense. Okay? If you have people coming in with receipts which you give them a date to collect, I think they can simply use customer service by bringing out somebody on the floor while there are people out there. You call out the receipt numbers, 345, 246, not ready. 247, not ready. That way you wouldn't have people waiting for hours, just waiting to know that a receipt or the birth certificate or whatever it is not ready. I mean, time means money. I don't know what it means to them, but for me, time means money. I have been in there over 6 times for that same thing. And believe me, the last time I said to them, I think I'll come back in 2014. Because I don't think it's going to be ready in 2013. You know, I find it just takes too long for simple things like this. Because, you know, you can make life so easy for the people coming in there and for the workers. If you only put somebody on the floor to make sure the receipts that the people coming is not ready, what is ready, you make sure somebody is there to distribute what is ready. You know what I'm saying? And that can make life so easy, you know. The authorities need to sit down and look at this thing. It's simple. There's nothing difficult in that, for them to just make sure that they have people in place to do these things. The young people which they employed some time ago to make sure they put records up to date. What has happened to that?
Yeah, that's what I was just asking about a while ago, you know, that project. I'm not sure what the status of that project is. But yeah, they came in to try to ease the pressure at the Civil Status Registry, which I understand is quite great. So we'll have to try to get an update on what the status of that project is.
I mean, it's just too difficult to know that somebody comes all the way from Viewport, Labrie, Soufrière. That shouldn't be. There should be something out there in the out districts for these people. You know, it's too expensive for somebody to be traveling and coming and waste their whole day. Just imagine you have a lunch hour. I have so many people tell you that you have a lunch hour and you get out of there, your lunch hour is wasted and nothing has been done. You know, I can understand you talk about the frustration of the workers because of the way some people behave when they come in there, but it's because of their mannerism, their attitude, their behavior, the no customer service. That is why people have to come in there and get upset. Because if you're dealing with a customer, you have to calm them down, because they already came in there wasting their time, and when they come to your counter, you're not pleasant. I mean, not because you made that person upset that she or him have to deal with me in an aggressive manner. You have to treat everyone like a VIP.
I agree.
You understand? If you're taking up these jobs, you have to know that these jobs are tedious. You will get irate customers. You have to learn how to deal with irate customers. You know, you can calm down somebody so easy by just being pleasant to them.
It's
by
true.
Just letting them know that you do understand that they came from that far, and you understand that they have to go back, and you understand. So you will do your best. I'll take your number. Can I call you, ma'am? Can I call you back, sir? Can I, get back to you on this? Could you leave your number with me? They'll feel better if you do that.
Yes.
But not to just shove them and, there's one particular guy in there. It's a pity I don't have his name tonight to tell you his name. There's one particular guy in there, and I'm telling you, I have been there over 6 times. And this guy has patience like nobody's business. He has never been rude. You don't see him upset. He's never aggressive. He's forever pleasant. I'm telling you, he deserves an award because he has the most patience in there. At no time he's aggressive to anybody.
Yeah,
so they need to learn that.
I've dealt with a few of them in there, and I mean, every time I go there, they have been very, very good to me, I must say. I know, and that is why I indicated that sometimes they get frustrated, because I have interacted with a lot of them at all of the offices, because I too have had the occasion to get some stuff done, and they have been very accommodating. They've been very nice. They've been very helpful. But dealing with so many people every day, I could just imagine. I'm not in their position, so I cannot tell you definitively, but then I could just imagine how frustrating and how tiring and taxing it could be, or it could get, having to deal with so many people with so many issues, and sometimes with so much attitude. So not that I'm making an excuse, but then sometimes we have to look at it from the other side. Let's put ourselves in their places and see how would we react if we encountered such challenges.
I do understand you, Clinton, but let me tell you that the managers, the supervisors, and whoever is responsible for these people should be thinking, And like I said, if they bring people out on the floor where the people sit throughout the day and do these checkpoints, do these checks, I think it's going to make life a lot easier for them and for the people sitting out there.
Okay.
Because as long as people see they're wasting their time and they're not getting any results, they will get upset.
Okay.
So they need to really do something about that change, and do it now and do it fast, because it's not getting any better. I hope we can get a better service, come soon. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Thanks for calling. Have a good night to you too. All right. So many issues and so many ideas coming out of it, and this is part of what the review has called for people to come and air their concerns and also give some ideas as to how the system can be improved. We have another call. Good evening. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hi. Good evening.
Hi. Clinton, you said that they are very nice to you. It's because they know you as Clinton Reynolds. But what about the average person?
Well, I mean, okay, everybody does not watch television, and I don't go to places and with my chest out and say, okay, I'm Clinton Reynolds, so you serve me. Sometimes when I go out, people tell me, oh, you need to step up. I like to observe things.
But there's one thing. Most of these, they took all the adult people from the registry department and they placed young people. These young people have no time to do proper search for the public. They're on their BBs. That's all they're concerned, ready to pack up their bags and leave. So it is a great mistake that department made.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Because I would imagine that these young people, and I've been at the back waiting for stuff to happen, and trust me, they work at a fanatic pace. They're all over, trying to do stuff, because I don't imagine that they even have time to be on their BBs if they are, for any extended period, because there is so much work to be done and so many people waiting for results that any supervisor would not tolerate that. I don't imagine.
Okay.
But I mean, your experience and my experience might be different, but as I said,
correctly.
Yeah, mine has been frustrating. Don't get me wrong. it has been very, very frustrating, especially if you cannot get what you have come for, and if you looking for certain pieces of information and it just cannot be produced, but then in terms of the interaction and the kind of assistance that has been rendered, I cannot complain about the efforts of the officers there to assist.
Well, they're all not of the same. There are those that are very pleasant and willing to help, but there are some, their mannerism is not ready to serve the public.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I mean, like in any place you go, you'd have some people who are very willing to help and to serve, and there are some who could care less. And the public service, the civil status registry, is just a micro. How do you put it? It's just a smaller part of the larger society. So you'll have different sorts of individuals, different characters, different temperaments in there, and I guess you have to work around it. Some of it is unacceptable, I do agree, and that's something for the authorities to handle, but some of it is just personalities and stuff, and just understanding them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, but looking forward to the change in there. Now we have another call, and the calls seem to be coming fast and furious. Good evening, caller. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Ranol.
Good evening, ma'am.
That birth certificate business we're talking about. This month is a year since I applied for mine. I paid the money already.
For a birth certificate?
Yes. They asked me to get my parents' marriage certificate. I get all of that. The last they asked me to get, it was my grandmother marriage certificate. And when my grandmother got married, my parents didn't know if they would have met each other yet. I go in the archive VG already. They couldn't get it. I went back to immigration and let them know I couldn't get it. They sent me back upstairs by dilemma. I paid the free $5 stamps and $2.50 stamps. And every time I go there, they give me an excuse. Give me a number, call them. They're not answering the phone. And I need my birth certificate to get my passport.
Well, I hope that during the review period that all of us who have had issues and who possibly have ideas as to how it can work better will share those ideas, because sometimes we go through processes here and then we complain, so we call the talk shows, we make noise, and then when it comes to actually doing something about it, then we shy away from doing that. So I hope all those who have had the issues and who have called in tonight will do the best thing, do the right thing, and share the ideas with the authorities so that we all can benefit, because it does not make sense. Although the authorities listen to the talk shows, I am positive that they do. This is not a place where they can collate the information. Some of them can take notes, yes, but in terms of having something concrete that they can work off of, I think it would be good that some of us who have had the experience and who have complained and see ways that the system can be improved can come forward and share those ideas with the authorities so that others can benefit from it.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we're hearing a lot from the ladies this evening. Apparently, the gentlemen don't have problems with their birth records, and I'm talking about this issue because all the calls that we have gotten so far on that. So we have another call. Good evening. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Clinton.
Good evening.
I'm calling to give an account of my encounter at the registry, and it was a very pleasant one.
Oh, okay.
And the persons who work there, they're not the ones who made the errors on the book. Okay, in the past, persons used to just go register their children and not look up on what's being written in the books. And those things went in there, and the persons who are doing it now, some of them are not even born yet. So when they're preparing a birth certificate for you, and for clarification, I do not work there. I have no relative who works there.
And you're not Clinton Reynolds, so you don't get special treatment.
Right.
No, I was just joking about it. You said right. I was just joking about that.
Yes, I have to say right, because it is true. I have no friend, I have no relative or nothing. But I went through it for my sister. She did like several visits and she got frustrated because she had to go get all the things. My mom has 6 children. She's my last sister. She's the only one who had all those problems. Everything was recorded badly. We had to go to a lawyer, go to the high court, get a court order, and to do everything. And the process it was done, it can be frustrating, but you must also realize that it is errors that they can't correct on their own. They have to go through the right channels. And if everybody just get what they ask you to get and you go and do what you're supposed to do, you will get through. You go in there and you hear people quarreling, cursing, and threatening the employees. They are human. They can't respond, but when you get to them, you expect them to smile to you. I probably would have gotten fired already if I was working there.
Well, it's a good thing you're not working there.
A very good thing. Because the things that I hear, sometimes I find myself in problems in my visits there. I have to say to them, but you have to learn to be patient. Yes, it's a long wait. You're not the only person there, but you'll have so many problems that you have to keep on going and coming back and coming back. And I had to make so many trips there. I have to go to High Court. When I go to High Court closes at 2. You have to get documents signed. Nobody's there to sign it. You have to go to the registry. The registry closes at a certain time. And it can be frustrating, but just a little bit of patience if they exercise it. They can get their matters fixed and stop insulting and abusing the staff when they go to the registry.
Now all the calls this evening have been from ladies, as I was mentioning earlier on.
When you go, if you said you've been there.
Yes, it's mainly ladies.
You'll see 99.5% of
yeah, it's true.
Are ladies.
It's true. A lot of ladies go there.
They are the ones that do it for their husbands, their brothers, their fathers, and everybody.
I guess they have more patience than men, huh?
And you said you're so busy you can't even go there.
Well, yeah, I've been there, you know, and sometimes, boy, I go there and I just take a deep breath and I was like, well, can somebody help me? I need this and that. I'll come back if anything.
The men, they walk in and they say, well, everybody's waiting to go there, and they just walk out. So the ladies have more time, they sit and wait.
Yeah, but let's hope that, you know, this system could be.
Well, there is space for room for improvement, but still, if the persons who are the applicants, if they exercise a bit more patience, and it's not the staff's fault. They can only give you what's there. I had to get 3 birth certificates for my sister before I could get the right one. Because every time I go, there is a column that the lawyer did not ask them to correct, and I have to go back to the lawyer, get another letter from the lawyer, an amendment letter. When I get it, I have to take it to High Court, get it signed at High Court, I have to go to the registrar. It can be frustrating, but just be some patience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm happy that you shared your experience, your positive experience with the registry.
It was very pleasant, and a lady called earlier, and she mentioned about a young guy. My very first encounter was with him, and he's a very cool person, very pleasant person. But when I went there, all the times I dealt with ladies, and the ladies are very nice.
Yeah.
But if you insult the people and you're sitting there, and they can hear the things that they are saying, so when you get in front of them, what do you expect them to do? Smile to you? Laugh and ask you how was your day, how have you been?
Yeah, well, that's what I expect. But
that's what you expect when I hear you talking about I'm sitting on my royal doing nothing and I should get fired?
Yeah,
have a nice evening.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you very much for that contribution. We're just about to wrap up on the program this evening, so I don't know if we have one last call before we go. And of course, as we do every Wednesday night, we preview the next day's program. It is Dolor Factor Live with Delia Dolor, and Dolor Factor Live 8:30 p.m. tomorrow. Delia and her guests discuss sex. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? I'm sure that there's a play on words somewhere there, knowing that individual as I do. But that should be a very interesting topic. How important is sex in a relationship? Is sex all it's made out to be? How can it be satisfying most of the time so more of us enjoy it and less of us fake it? Delia is also conducting a quiz so you can find out your sexual IQ. Her guests are relationship counselor Rose Orberton and writer Jamie Dalsey. That's Dolor Factor Live only on DBS 8:30 tomorrow. And just before we go, let's take our last call. Good evening, caller. Please go ahead. We have like 20 seconds for us to wrap up. Good evening, caller. Please go ahead. Okay, I think I think we lost that call. Well, I want to thank you for being part of Newsmaker Live this evening, a show where we open it up to you, and we only got the calls later on in the program, and they kept on coming, those who are calling in later. Unfortunately, we have to end the show. I invite you to join us again next week at the same time for another show. But before that, I should be here on Saturday night, God willing, for the Press Club with Keisha St. Helen of RSL Reloaded, where we discuss the latest developments for the past week. Until that time, I'm Clinton Reynolds. Bye.